loves, how are you guys doing? Welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, welcome. Don't forget to subscribe before you go. So today I am so excited to be doing my 30-day vegan challenge update. Yesterday was actually the 30-day challenge mark, so today I'm technically on day 31, and by the time this gets uploaded, it'll probably be like day 33 or something. But I'm just like, honestly, I'm so proud of myself for like taking this step to make such an extreme change in my diet. And I mean diet as in way of life. I don't mean it as in like crash diet type of thing. So I have a list of things, and I'm going to go through these, and I will probably talk about a few other things and go on tangents as I do in my videos. So yeah. So the first thing on my list is that not eating out. I was an avid eater-outer pretty much every day, probably at least, I would say at least 5 times a week, if not more. And on average, I would say at least 2 or 3 days a week, there was 2 times a day where I was going out to eat. So, you know what? That's like literally at least 10 times a week. And that was like, I'm including like going to Starbucks, going to lunch and grabbing like, I don't know, fries or a snack or something, or anything really. Like, when it came to eating food, I would get it from wherever. It didn't matter. And even if I brought my lunch, there would be times where I'd be like, well, I'm still hungry, so I'm going to go grab something else. I don't know. But I just realized how much I used to eat out, and it was ridiculous. And then the next thing is not feeling I have to have everything. And I don't know if others are going to relate with that or not, but it was just a really interesting feeling, because the first, I would say 2 weeks, I really felt like I was like, oh, everyone gets to eat everything and I don't, type of thing. But I kept bringing it back to why I was doing it and why I wanted to try this out and try this new way of life type of thing. And I would say probably after about the 2-week mark, I started to realize that there was like a shift in my thinking where it was like, well, no, it's not that I can't have that, it's that I don't want that. And people would offer me things like when I would go over to my in-laws' house or friends' houses or whatever, and they would offer me things that weren't vegan or weren't what I was choosing to put in my body, and I would just be like, oh no, thank you. And of course there was a few times where I was like, I really wish I could have that Danish, and I'm like, you totally can, you're choosing not to. And I think that was it, is that mind shift happened, and it didn't feel like I was being deprived. And I think also around that 2-week mark is where me and my husband really found our like comfort in making vegan food, and like feeling like we could like whip up a meal real quick, you know what I mean? So the next thing was that I started to realize that my body feels better. Like, I can't really put an exact explanation with it, but I just feel like I feel better. And it's not like I feel like superhuman or anything like that. It's just that my body just feels better. Like, when I eat a meal, even if I overeat a bit, I don't feel sick. I don't feel like I'm being weighed down. I don't feel sick, honestly. Like, it's so weird, because I've watched other people's videos on going vegan and stuff like that, and they've talked about how their body just no longer felt sick. And I thought it was insane, because I started to feel that feeling, and I was like, this is what they mean. And it was just really cool and interesting. And the next thing is that like my conscience feels so much better. Obviously I'm Muslim. In the Quran it teaches that we're allowed to eat animals, and there are limits. I am taking this vegan approach probably in a different way than most people would, but I personally can't stand by and see what this industry is doing to the animals and to people who live around these farms. And the people who live around a lot of these huge factory farms are predominantly minorities and poor. So it's a social issue, basically. And throughout these 30 days, I have been doing more and more research about these things that I've heard over the years, and kind of just like turned a blind eye to, and just been like, yeah, I'm sure it's not happening at every farm, or it's not happening at the majority of farms, and things like that. And after watching What the Health, I feel like It really opened my eyes, and then it made me real, I feel like I had a lot of flashbacks of friends over the years who have told me these different little tidbits of facts and stuff like that, and it just all came rushing in. And over these 30 days, I've taken the time to do more research, and I've realized that this is a big problem. Like, this isn't just happening in a few of the farms. This isn't just happening in an isolated area type of thing. It's happening on a majority of factory farms. And it is hurting the people around them. It is hurting our environment. It is hurting it's hurting everything. It's insane. All of the things that I have, researched and learned, and getting them from reputable sources as well. Yeah, I'll probably end up doing a video about that, just because it is way too much to put into this one video. But just, having my eyes open to all these things and realizing that, yeah, okay, I love how cheese tastes. I love filet mignon, my favorite steak, but I don't think it's right that an animal should be tortured its entire life so that I can have a steak. You know what I mean? It's not right for all of the things that go on in this industry so that I can enjoy a piece of cheese. It's really selfish and just absolutely wrong. And I think it might be different if I own my own cow and my cow gave me some of its milk or whatever, and I took a portion of its milk or something. I don't know. I'm at a point where I feel like that would be okay. Or if I own my own chickens and they had some eggs and I was like, I'll take some of your eggs or whatever. But just where it's at right now is, it breaks my heart, and I don't think I can ever go back to how I was. I hope I can't, honestly. The next one is one that really surprised me. If you notice, I'm looking down because I keep looking at my list. But the next one on my list that really surprised me was that it was less expensive. And I was so surprised by that, because I've always heard the excuse of, oh, I can't go organic or I can't go plant-based because it's too expensive. I can't afford it. And I realized that meat, cheese, and milk are really flippin' expensive. Meat is expensive. Looking at just the normal 85% lean ground beef or whatever, it's $5 or $6 a pound, right? Well, yeah, vegetables are way cheaper than that. I mean, there are some exotic fruits and stuff that you get for $5 or $6 a pound, but other than that, they're cheaper. And I was just flabbergasted, because I realized that I was actually buying more food and spending less at the grocery store, and me and my husband were just like, wait a minute, is this cheaper? And we were really surprised. Another thing that I felt that I was really surprised about, because I have struggled with this my entire life. I'm obviously overweight, and I've struggled with it my entire life, is the feeling of being full. And I really went into this thinking that being vegan was going to mean that I maybe felt satisfied but never felt full. And that is totally wrong. I have felt full. And I remember even in the beginning, me and my husband having a talk about you know what, it's just going to be a mindset that we're going to have, that we feel satisfied, not full. And that's okay. That's the mindset we're going to have. And then also later, a week or two later, realizing, hey, have you been feeling full? Because I've been feeling full. Yeah, I've been feeling full too. And that was just a really cool thing, because I thought that was something that I was going to have to kind of sacrifice for the rest of my life and try and keep under control. And it's a really freeing feeling to actually feel full. And it's really interesting, and I don't know, it's something that I've struggled with my whole life, so it's really interesting to me. The next thing is feeling like I have more willpower and control, and it's kind of, I don't know if anybody has ever fasted. I've only fasted in a religious sense for Ramadan, but I kind of felt like it was like that. During the fasting, there is a sense of control of, I'm not going to do that, or I'm not going to put that in my body while you're fasting. And I feel like when I break my fast, it's gone. It's gone. Give me food. But during the fasting, I feel like I have this like really interesting sense of control and willpower. And I feel like throughout these 30 days I really had that, and there was so many times where people were offering me different things, and like I had the thought of like, yeah, I want that, but I had this, I don't know, sense of willpower, sense of control, and I think it was more a sense of discernment that this is what I wanted to do, so I didn't do it. And it was just a really good feeling, and it helped me to realize like my strength and how I can like accomplish things and everything. So it was really interesting with that. And then the next thing is that I knew where my food was coming from. Over the last 30 days, I have read more food labels than I care to admit. And that kind of goes with the next two things I was going to talk about, because there are a lot of things that I thought, for sure, I don't even need to read the label. Of course it's vegan. Like, don't even worry about it. And then I would realize, oh my god, this isn't vegan, and I ate it. And I didn't count that as, oh, I have failed this challenge. I counted it as a learning curve. I'm not going to do that. Like, that's ridiculous. I'm trying to learn an entirely new way of life, and I'm not going to, like, count myself short. I'm just doing my best, basically. And one of the things that I didn't realize wasn't vegan was honey. And I get it now. I did some research and I completely get it now. The bees are totally exploited by the harvesting of honey. And at first I was like, well, it's not hurting the bees. We're not killing the bees. I don't understand why it's not technically vegan or whatever. And when I looked into it, in most honey farms, what they do is they harvest more honey than what the bees could survive on, the reason why the bees are making the honey to begin with. And then what they do is they replace it with a fatty sugar syrup substitute that actually hurts the bees, and in many cases it can kill up to half of the beehive in the season, because it doesn't have the nutrition that the bees need in order to survive. And that's messed up. That's a complete exploitation of the bees, who are like helpless and can't help themselves, and they've created this honey for themselves to survive, and it's wrong. So I really got my eyes open to that one, which in a sense it's like, oh man, that sucks, because I really like honey. But then in the other sense I'm like, yeah, but bees are really important, and it's wrong. And bees, like most of our fruits and vegetables, wouldn't be around if it weren't for bees pollinating them. So we gotta kind of respect the bees here. That's kind of like, that's how I felt. The other thing was veggie burgers. Do not trust them. Read all of the ingredients. Make sure that it actually says vegan if you don't read all of the ingredients. I ate, what was it, 2 different types of veggie burgers, and one of them I just didn't realize it. And my husband had told me like a week later, was like, hey, did you know that veggie burger had cheese in it? And I was like, wait, what? And I was like, okay, well that sucks. I'm not buying that one again. And then he purchased some veggie burgers, and I don't remember if he said they were vegan or if I just assumed because he got them that they were vegan, but I had been eating them, and I had eaten like 3, I think, and then I checked the label, and apparently they have egg whites in them. So I was like, hello, they have egg whites in them. And he was like, I thought I checked. I'm so sorry. And I was like, it's okay, it's okay. And it was just like, it was a learning curve. And so what we're going to be doing over the next like little while is eating the rest of the food in our house that isn't vegan, because we're not going to just waste it. I kind of mulled this over and kind of had a hard time with it at first, because I thought to myself, well, these animals were tortured and treated wrongly. I don't want to eat these products from these animals. But at the same time, I had already purchased these products, and now I have them in my possession. And if I waste them and just throw them away, I feel like it's even worse. So I am going to finish these products that I have in my home. I have like honey, I have those veggie burgers, I have, what else do I have? I have some like mayonnaise, butter. We have some things. that are not vegan, and I'm going to completely just like, you know, finish those things, but we're still going to be cooking vegan to the best of our ability with those things mixed in so we can finish them up. And some people may be like, well, that's wrong, you shouldn't be eating it, just throw it away. But I honestly, I can't feel good about that. I can't feel good about wasting food like that. And yeah, so that's what we're gonna do. But this was just such an eye-opening experience, and if you've been debating whether or not to go vegan, I think it would be a really good idea to do like a 30-day vegan challenge for yourself and just try it out, and know that you do not have to eat a salad every single meal. Honestly, throughout these 30 days, I don't think I've eaten one salad. And if I did eat a salad, it was a side dish, it wasn't the actual meal. So just know you don't have to eat salads every single meal. Yeah, because like literally you don't have to eat salads. And I think a really good cookbook for anyone who is going vegan is Thug Life Kitchen. My husband purchased Thug Life Kitchen like 2 or 3 years ago just because he thought it was the coolest thing ever, and it is the best cookbook ever. I mean, it's the only vegan cookbook we've ever had, to be clear, but it is just awesome. It breaks everything down to the simplest of terms, and it's got a lot of jokes in it, and there is some profanity, so if you don't like profanity, don't buy it. But it's just, it really breaks it down, and it makes it feel so much more approachable. Yeah, so much more approachable and doable, and it's just an awesome like cookbook that we fell in love with, and we're planning on buying the other editions of it, because that's where we got a lot of our ideas from, is from the Thug Life Kitchen cookbook. So if you've been thinking about doing it, I say do it. Just try it out. Don't like set yourself up for failure. You're gonna make mistakes. It's okay. You're learning. You're going to an extremely different way of life, most likely, and there's gonna be bumps in the road, but I'm really glad I did this. I feel really good, and I'm just really grateful that I had this opportunity to try this out. So yeah. If you guys have any questions below or want to know more details about different things that we did, please let me know. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I'll see you guys next time. Bye!